Good morning or good evening, wherever you are tuning in or watching from. Thanks, everybody, first of all, for joining in live to this special event, bringing together the people and tools that you love. My name is Daniel Anderson, Partner Manager and Product Evangelist here at Valo. And today we're going to be joined by Valo Product Lead and Microsoft MVP, Sebastien Levert, and also with us today, Modern Workplace Adoption Lead at Datacom, and also Microsoft MVP, Darrell Webster, where we're going to be diving into what it really is like living in and working in this new digital world we all now find ourselves in. Not only are we going to be discussing these topics with these two gurus, we're going to be also in an APAC first, taking a look at a new product that has been cooking up in the Valo kitchen, Valo Connect. Stay with us now as we now introduce. I'll hand over to Seb so he can now say hello, introduce himself, tell you a little about him and what he does at Valo, and then we will hand over to Darrell.
Hey everybody, thanks Daniel for the introduction. Calling in, long-time listener, first-time caller, calling in from Montreal, Canada. On the other side of the world, I am super happy to be here today. Sebastien Levert, I'm the product lead at Valo Intranet, been focusing on our different digital workplace solutions that we have here at Valo. Microsoft MVP, mainly focusing on the development side of the Microsoft Cloud. And I'm super happy today to kind of discuss what were the thoughts and what brought us to really bring the best of the digital workplace inside Microsoft Teams, and what were the different challenges that we were experiencing with Teams, and brought us to do a brand new product that we're launching today for the APAC region called Valo Connect. So happy to be here today.
Thank you, Seb. And joining us as well is Darrell Webster. How are you, Darrell?
Good to be here, Daniel and Seb. Good to see that we've got an event that's in APAC waking hours. So thank you, fellow, for doing that. Adoption lead, and I've sort of adopted also another title. I call myself a concierge of change. So I'm about introducing people to technology and aligning technology to their needs and not the other way around. So that I'm excited to see what Valo has in store here for Valo Connect, because there are definitely some needs in the digital workplace that have become more emphasized over current conditions.
Indeed. Thank you very much, guys. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping before we get stuck into it. We do have, as this is a Teams live event, we do have the Q&A functionality available to us. So if you do have any questions, pop them in there. We will be monitoring that. We also, if you are on Twitter, you can use the hashtags Valo webinar and Ask Valo to ask questions as well. And just a quick note, the webinar will be recorded, so you can watch that after the fact as well. Now, just moving on to the agenda now. First up, we're going to be having a discussion with Seb and Darrell, and we're going to be talking about how you can and how you should be reinventing the digital workplace. What are the challenges? What does it mean to actually live in today's and work in today's digital workplace, especially from an end user perspective? Then we're going to be taking a look at how the Valo Connect product is going to actually help enhance your organization's communication and collaboration inside of the tools that we know and we love and we are using more and more, and that is Microsoft Teams. We'll talk about how Valo Connect's built on top of that platform. We obviously living inside of teams, a lot of us are using this tool more and more, but we're still in a kind of a disconnected state, I guess, where we're still flicking between different applications and browsers just to get certain tasks done. So we're going to have a look and have a discussion about how Valo Connect is bringing all of that together in one single location. And then if we've got some time at the end, we're going to be taking some Q&A. So we'll see how we go for time, and that is the agenda for today. Now, a little bit about Valo and our, I guess, our beliefs and our strategy. Now, we at Valo believe that the digital workplace experience, or the employee experience in this, I'll call it the new normal, is really key to productivity, and we try and build, and we do build products that help enhance that employee experience. So you turn on your computer, you open up, you log in, and that experience is made so much more, I guess, inclusive and better with what you'll see shortly with Valo Connect. Obviously, we have a tight relationship with Microsoft. We believe that platform provides the best capabilities for us to be able to build those experiences on top of that. Okay. Now, a little bit about Valo, for those of you that don't know. Been around for a number of years now, 2016 and up until now 2020. We've been lucky enough to be appearing in the Clearbox report the last couple of years as well, and also been the ISV Partner of the Year in 2020 and 2019 as well. In regards to what our location and the people and customers that we work with, obviously over 650 customers and over 2 million users worldwide across a lot of countries. So we are a truly global company covering most areas of the globe as well. Now, what does it really mean to work in today's digital workplace? How should we be reinventing? How should we be changing the way we work and bringing all of these tools into a nice experience that we can basically get our work done, save our time, get our work done. Now, I'm going to ask both of you this question. Darrell, you work, I'll hand over to you first. You work a lot with the end users in terms of change and adoption. What are the real experiences that employees that you see in today's digital workplace are having?
It's interesting that over recent times, with many of us having to rush to working remotely, that certain things that were present have been emphasized. Now, we've heard that many people are belonging to multiple teams. It could be a business as usual team. You've been hired into a team, so you're part of that. You belong to different projects. You might belong to a community or two within your organization, or you also belong to projects maybe for customers. So we're crossing all sorts of boundaries and areas that we work. And we're doing this digitally because we can. We have the tools available, and we're trying to make that easier to do so, saving costs on travel and various things. When COVID hit and we're all into COVID confinement and isolation, and organizations are rushing off to implement Teams, all of a sudden all these remote working tools, Teams included, became the focus. And so that experience that we have now is we're infinitely aware of all the teams and people that we need to work with, and having to chop and change between those experiences. But also some of us have managed to, well, our countries or whatever have managed to get to a situation where we can still work hybridly. So now we're more aware of when we are there in person, maybe at a workplace, being aware of how people interact when they are remote. So we are more aware of people in those mixed modes. So with all that awareness of how we're working and the way that we have to change and adopt to that, one of the big challenges is how do we remain connected? Because nothing's in real time so much anymore. We jump on a meeting to try and keep up with people. A 5-minute conversation turns into a half an hour scheduled meeting. All those sorts of challenges now, which really change the way that we work. And I think that's one of the key things that I'm interested to see with this product, how it will address that sort of challenge. What do you think, Seb?
I do have a very similar opinion. Everything changed in the last couple of months, and I think now it's not considered like a nice to have, and the experience of the digital workplace, especially with Teams, is really becoming kind of the norm, becoming the most important place where you can go collaborate, communicate, co-innovate with your colleagues. But still today, I believe and I feel that some of it, or some parts of that experience, is challenging, is difficult for some of the users, because before you had everything close to you. You had your colleagues, you had the tools you needed, you had everything in that office. Now that you're all built into that digital workplace, bringing all of these tools, connecting all of this together to really make sense needs to become a priority of organizations, to really make sure that not only, yes, your employees will be more productive and will be able to produce more and all these kind of things, but employees will be happier when doing their work will become a lot simpler. So that's what I think today. We're at a tipping point today where we need to improve. We brought people in a digital world. It kind of works. People are used to it, but I think we're at a tipping point where we need to engage with our users and bring them more tools to help and kind of really simplify the experience that we have right now. It feels a little bit disconnected, I think, today.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. Now, I'm going to hand the baton over to you, Seb, and you are now going to showcase a great little video of Valo Connect. So I'm just going to hand back over to you, and you can take it away.
Awesome. That's great. Let me just do that. I'm just going to go like this. And now want to do kind of a premiere of that video. So I hope you like it. And we'll just continue right after this. See you in a second.
In a thriving digital workplace, access to your content and multiple apps is vital. These are often stored across different locations, which at times can cause confusion. Imagine a world where all communications, collaboration, and co-innovation happens in one location. Introducing Valo Connect. Valo Connect enables you to focus on the things that really matter. Intranet, pages, business apps, websites, and even custom-built apps designed specifically for your business needs. Whatever it is that you use in your digital workplace, Valo connects them, helping your team to stay informed with everything from internal communications to industry news, helping them to locate and edit files and documents without jumping between multiple sources. Everything is better together, under one roof. It's time to make the connection and bring all your tools together within Microsoft Teams. Build the digital workplace of your dreams.
How great was that? I'm super happy. It just brings me a huge smile every single time I see that video. So I'm really happy to share that with you. And I think the video really nails down kind of the most important things about Valo Connect. And let me walk you through some of the ways that we really think about this software. First, we build this software with three different core values in mind. The first one is I want to build a holistic employee experience. We want to have a single pane of glass that brings all your different experiences in that tool that is Microsoft Teams. We want to make sure that when you're in Teams and you go to connect, you can actually always be productive and not have to jump from one thing to the other. Also, we wanted to focus on things that matters the most. One of the disconnected experiences that we believe that exists right now in Microsoft Teams is, even though a lot of Teams is focusing on communication with chats and channel conversations and videos and meetings and all that stuff, the corporate communications, which sometimes might be one of the areas that you really, really care about to make sure that you're always on top of your things around your own organization, are not there. So we want to bring you and focus on that. And then afterwards, you will be able to focus on collaboration and on co-innovation and everything else that matters. But we really want to bring that back to you. Some of the customers we've been talking to when we're building this tool, the first thing they were telling us is, we love SharePoint, we love our intranet. Either it is with built with Valo or not, just SharePoint or whatsoever. But we don't love the fact that we have to move from Teams to there and then back to Teams. So it feels a real disconnect. And one of the things we wanted to build is really that connection between those two. Third, we wanted to make sure that Valo Connect is deeply in love with our other product called Valo Intranet. We wanted to make sure that not only it just integrates natively, but it kind of adds some superpowers to the experience. And this, we're going to see that in a few seconds. But the beauty also is that it's not only about Valo Intranet, it's about anything that your digital workplace is about. So we're really having a kind of a inclusiveness of all the different tools and platforms that you might be using in your organization. And we believe that Valo Connect will enhance your communication and collaboration in different ways. The first thing is to really make sure that your people are staying in Teams, because we're going to bring everything inside Teams, from communication to your people, to your documents, to your search, to everything will be within Microsoft Teams. One of the aspects that we wanted to simplify for Microsoft Teams is people. People seems, out of like in some simple scenarios, people seem easy in Teams. You go on top, you write the name of someone. But when you don't know who you're looking for, it can actually be very, very complicated to find the right person to talk to. So we wanted to kind of make that connection easier. And also, right now, it might not be the best case scenario here, but especially when you're on the go, when you're moving from one building to the other, from one conference room to the other, I'm the first one to actually have my Microsoft Teams app in my hands, scrolling through what I missed in the last meeting, just to make sure that I can stay on top of my to-do list for this day. But we wanted to make sure that this app, Valo Connect, is available on any of the devices that you might be using Microsoft Teams. So it works on mobile, it works on desktop, it works on Mac, on Windows, on Linux, it works on the web, and it works on iOS and Android. So we wanted to make sure it's all over the place, because it is super, super important to be able to access that anywhere you are and whatever device you're using. Communication is one aspect. Bring these news, bring these corporate messages, announcements, but we wanted to also bring the collaboration to the next level. We have seen lots of challenges, or sometimes small improvements that can make a world of difference when people are collaborating within Microsoft Teams. So we wanted to make sure that all the tools, anything that a user could think of, can be put inside Valo Connect to enable a better teamwork altogether, but also better remote collaboration. And in these days, I think remote collaboration is kind of the key to the success of such a platform. We wanted also to make sure that Teams is an amazing tool to edit documents, to create documents and everything within your teams. But some organization might have tons of legacy content that are somewhere in SharePoint, or that they are still using SharePoint for what it does great, which is content management and documents and these things, and wanted to bring these straight inside Microsoft Teams instead that you have to go to another platform to actually get those documents. So we wanted to make it super, super easy. And I'm going to do a demo later that I think is really cool. But in the end, we wanted to make it easy. We wanted to make it simple. We wanted to make it as simple as possible that any team owner, any team member can actually add Valo Connect to their teams, and any IT admin or any person that is responsible for the Teams platform in your organization can actually bring the Valo Connect, what we call a personal app. So the apps that are on the left side of Microsoft Teams, we wanted to make sure that it was easy to bring in. And you're going to see how simple it is for an end user to consume. For an end user, there's not even a question to ask there. We just use what is being shown for us, and it's really simple, very, very based out of a lot of user experience studies that we've been making in the past. And as I said, everything is built on Teams. So we can actually leverage a lot of what Teams offer, from the different governance capabilities that Teams offer. For example, maybe you want to do a rollout per group of people. You want to try Valo Connect with a subset of your organization and then grow it to multiple groups and finally do a global rollout. Valo Connect supports all the mechanisms that Microsoft Teams offer to do these kind of things. It also respects all of the data policies that you might have. If you have some compliance, rights management, anything that would allow some restrictions to the content, everything is respected from within Microsoft Teams. And because it's all linked to the rest of the Microsoft ecosystem, any Microsoft tool can also be built in to Valo Connect. And I'm going to show you later on two cool tools that we love showcasing, which are Microsoft Lists and also Microsoft Power Apps. So without further ado, I'd like to really show you what Valo Connect is all about. So let's go and see, and let's move on to just slides for now, or actually just screen for now, so you can really see well all the demo. Let me go here. Now you should actually see all of this. So what you see now is Valo Connect. The first thing you might notice is the top left icon that you see right there on the left. This icon is available for everybody in your organization. So you can actually publish this icon, this app, to everybody. So they will automatically start their day with this homepage. This homepage here is a great example of an intranet that is just being brought into the experience in Microsoft Teams. Here you can find some of the elements that you would expect from an intranet perspective: news, links, some global, some local news, depending on how audienced is your intranet, events that you might want to register to, and anything else. Think about your intranet, think about your landing page, think about the space that you're starting your day with, and that can be pushed to all your organization as part of Microsoft Teams. So that was kind of the first scenario that a lot of our customers were asking, but we did not want to stop there, because this is, we believe, a great start, but we can do so much more with Valo Connect that we wanted to push it a little bit further. Second thing I want to kind of highlight of one of the functionalities is here, if you're familiar with Valo, you can actually recognize one of our, I would say, signature layout, which is called the Lux layout, with the news carousel right here with the icons on the right. But you might not, maybe you're not a Valo Intranet customer, and maybe you want to either have this experience or have just your brand, like your regular out-of-the-box SharePoint experience, and that's why we also integrate with any SharePoint site that you might think of. So this site here is just a regular aside from SharePoint, it is from the Microsoft Lookbook, so it looks good. The functionality is there. You can start any video. You can connect to Yammer. You can bring in your Twitter feed. You can bring all your documents. Anything that you want to bring in, you can do it. And one of the really cool capabilities of Valo Connect is the ability to hook in multiple sites, not just your home site. And we're going to discuss a little bit later with Daniel about the SharePoint home site app that is to be released somewhere 2021, probably in the first half of 2021, which is limiting some of these capabilities. But here we're really unlocking the full potential of having your SharePoint, your most meaningful sites from SharePoint straight inside Valo Connect. Another scenario that when we were talking with our partners and customers, they were asking us, Seb, we want to be able to have not just the intranet, but a very personalized, customizable homepage that looks like me, that is the content. That's kind of the only page where I can see my really meaningful content. Yes, the homepage of an intranet like this one is meaningful. There's a ton of it. But sometimes you want to be a little bit more than that. And we built the My News experience. The My News is actually by default the landing page of your Valo Connect. You have the same organization view that you had before. You have then afterwards here the My News. My News is something that is specific to Valo Connect because you can actually subscribe to some topics, location, business areas, and automatically this brings the content that you care about. It's not just the content from everywhere, it's the content you care about. And this brings personalization upfront and is extremely important, I believe. On the left, you can bring your market news. You can bring the news from anywhere on the internet to kind of have a good understanding of maybe what your competition is doing or what is the market thinking about your products or your services. Then afterwards, we bring the trends. We bring the content that we believe that you should be looking at, that you might have missed on, but that you are interested in. And finally, the news from your teams. All of your team that you're a part of, and earlier, Darrell, I agreed so much with you on you're not part of a single team when you're part of Microsoft Teams. You're a part of different teams, different communities, different groups, different committees, different anything. But how can you have an easy view of all of these news? The intranet is usually not the place for that. Usually the intranet is very corporate driven. There might be some team news in there, but it's not going to be kind of the main focus area. And here you have all the My Team news right from here, and you're going to see it, with each team how we can actually see that. Our second pillar is about people. And we really believe that people needs to be key or needs to be the centerpiece of Valo Connect. And one of the things that we brought here is our organization tab. The organization tab here is a tool that allows me as a user to go in and start searching for people in a people directory way, not using the search bar from Teams that only brings me people based on their name. Here, I don't know who I'm looking for, but I know that that person is a software architect. So I can search for software and automatically get the software architect right here. So easy to connect with that person. But if I actually don't even know who I'm looking for, I can go by here. Okay, so I know it's someone from finance. That might be, I think it's the chief financial officer I need to send to talk with that person to initiate an instant message. So how do I do this? Well, I just click on the name of that person and automatically I'm being brought inside the conversation. I can say, hey, John, and automatically start a conversation with that person. Not only this brings an extremely powerful experience, it really brings a seamless experience. You're still in Teams, you're still inside this great experience, and you don't have to go out on another platform. You don't have to go to SharePoint to find the right person, or you don't have to navigate the organization structure and try to figure out who you're looking for. No, you can just ask the system. The system will tell you what is the right person for you. Then talking about finding the right person, well, one of the challenges here is definitely to find not just the right person, but the right content from within all the organization. So what we did is we brought in the enterprise search capabilities straight inside Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams has a great file system, which is actually backed by SharePoint. But how can we bring the power of searching with Microsoft Teams? Microsoft Teams does not allow you to do some great search capabilities. And here, what I can do here, I can search for, let's say I'm going to search for contracts. So I have a bunch of different contracts. Some are coming from a team. I know this is actually coming from a private channel in a team. We're going to come back to that later. Here it is from a SharePoint site, an intranet site. If I go back here, I can even see other from the Learning Center, from our videos. So these are all different areas where we have content that is not part of Microsoft Teams, which is great because I can see it here. I can find it. I can search, can say, hey, I only want to have my PowerPoint that were created by Guard Forth, and now I can find all of them. On top of that, not only I can find them, but I can start editing them. So I can go here, click on computer system information, and automatically I can just start my editing experience from here. I can open it in the desktop app if I want. I can start presenting because I'm in a meeting with people, or I just close it because I'm done. This really brings the connection with the content from everywhere. This is meant as a global enterprise search. We're going to drill down inside some of the teams that are also using Valo Connect, and we're going to see how this actually reacts to this. Earlier, we discussed about Power Apps. Here we have a great example. Here, if you're building low-code / no-code applications with Power Apps, you can also bring them as part of your main navigation in Power Apps, bringing some of these apps automatically and enabling you to actually configure these apps. And that's why we have here, you will be able to actually go in and add as many pages as you want, as many content as you want, directly from this really simple experience for any IT admins or any people involved in the organization. Last thing that I wanted to show is the experience of this when you're inside a team. If I go to Teams here, I will find my general channel. I'm in the finance team, and I have channel discussions. I talk with people, we're meeting and everything. But one of the great things we have is the ability to add Valo Connect as a tab in this team, not as 1,000 of tabs here, because sometimes it literally goes above and beyond what we are looking for. But here, so the first experience you're going to find is this guy here. You're going to find a great home experience, which is the news. You're going to find all the news of this site, including a full capability to go in, explore the news. Here, there's just no content. I can also like the news already from here. I can come back to my news and automatically I'm being reloaded right here. Search. I can search for content, including private channels. So here I'm in Valo Connect. I am actually looking for files anywhere in that finance team. So we don't have this capability today with Teams to really bring the files as the files of this team. It's always the files of this channel. But in that case, I can find actually stuff from all over the place, from my monthly reports, from my internal. If I'm doing the contracts like I did earlier, I'm going to find a contract process, which is part of my internal site, which is that private channel here. I have the ability of finding the people, the members of that site. I can actually start a conversation with any of the members of that team. I can also meet the team. So here I have an introductory page where we can announce who is part of that team, start conversation, get to their socials, anything that you would have here. And finally, a great integration that we have built is the integration with Microsoft Lists. So by clicking here, automatically, I have access to a full-blown Microsoft List capability where I can go here and see the rich card experience, go and edit my columns, add stuff, or even just go on and start editing my content and say that finally this guy is in use, and automatically does that. So bringing the list experience inside Teams, but any type of list, having that available as a ready-made package is kind of what we wanted to do and to bring as part of this experience here. So wanted to give you a little bit of a overview of what Valo Connect can do today and what are the different problems it solves. Now I want to grab a little bit of your feedback, Darrell, on some of the maybe the challenges that you might have had in some of the projects, the organization you've been working on, and how you see that Valo Connect can probably in the end help transforming some of these organizations. But before we get into kind of the end result, what are today the different challenges that an organization have when implementing these digital workplaces? You've been working with a ton of different organizations. How is that challenging? How is that not necessarily difficult, but how is that creating a challenge around implementing these digital workplaces?
I think that everyone wants to develop their own way of working. And the key thing with that is we've got so many tools and we're trying to bring them together. There's shadow IT that we've got to deal with, all those sorts of things. But we still need to have a simple way of engaging with each other and getting work done. And in my line of work with adoption and change management, it is about trying to develop that way. So within the digital workplace, we know we've got various different tools with Microsoft 365. The challenge is, how do you help people to discover that way of working? How do you promote that way of working and shape that around real work practices, not just the vanilla kind of demos that we see to cover standard stuff. When it's tailored to the way that we work and the tools wrap around our work process, then that's really the key thing. So the challenge is, how do you help people to discover that and bring that all together? And I do like what you said earlier too about simplifying things. Sometimes as IT pros, we want to overwhelm people with value and say that a tool can do this and that, and look, it can do 50, 60, 90 different things. And often when you're talking to a regular person, you've lost them on the third thing. So we need to bring it back down, simplify it and say, what is it that you need? And how can I help you make it easier to get to the tools and the information and the people that you need to engage with to get your work done? So it really is about simplifying things. I think the other thing too, like, is communication. If you've got to go to multiple different places or multiple different platforms and kind of maintain a mental Rolodex of who uses what tool to communicate and what do they respond on most frequently, it's stressful.
It is, and it's I love how you say that. It basically we need to go down to people, how they're using their tools, how they want to use their tools, and simplifying it for them means a win for the organization in general, and the adoption will just rise if we do that. If we keep it complex, yes, Microsoft Teams can do 1,000 things. Good luck figuring them out. If we can guide the user, I think that's definitely cool. And I'm like, what do you think about this, Daniel? Daniel, you've been working also with tons of customers and even Valo customers back in the days. What were the different challenges you were having when implementing these kind of solutions?
Yeah, I think along the lines of what Darrell said, although everybody is sold on this ideology that we move to the cloud, we move our files there, and we move our email there, and everything's going to be good. We're now in the cloud. We can work from anywhere. We can do all of that sort of stuff. But the reality is that while Microsoft 365 still does provide that platform, we've got multitude of different ways that we can achieve certain things. We've still got lots of tools that we need to use to get things done. And as end users, it is that what to use when and where do I go? How do I do something? To get that task done. That's still a really big challenge with a lot of organizations. And obviously, being in this space, we kind of take a lot of those things for granted. We can flick between certain things a lot of the time quite easily, but as end users, there is still that issue of navigating your way around that digital landscape, I guess, is a huge challenge. And what you showcased before with Valo Connect, being able to bring and simplify that, Darrell mentioned it before, being able to simplify that user experience for an end user is something that's really, really powerful. And something like Connect is a way that we can now start to do that for those users.
Yeah, I think I'm going to cover it a little bit later. I think from a very IT perspective, what's the biggest value here? But you're going to see that I think Connect can definitely change the way that you're experiencing your digital workplace in the end. But still, we're talking a lot about Teams. Darrell, in your experience, Teams is still there. So what's the role of Microsoft Teams in the digital workplace? Is it still do you see this as the central piece? Do you see this as one of the tools? What's your vision about Microsoft Teams?
I think it's been pretty clear how they've framed it up, and it's a reasonably short history in the scheme of productivity tools, that it centers around conversation to begin with, and then everything else is brought in around that. If we can't talk, if we can't meet, if we can't make decisions together, then what else are we going to do? So with Teams, that's what it centers around, and it's great at doing that with a digital workplace. They've come up with a great design for tabs and bringing in core things like files and various other different apps that you might use from the Microsoft suite of things, and also from the various third parties that have developed stuff as well. But yeah, there are certainly there's still room for improving that simplicity. It's easy to overwhelm by all the choice that we have. And what I see some team owners doing as they create a new team, maybe it's the first time, or maybe this is just the pattern they've developed, but they can over-engineer things. And so this is part of the problem, that if we put too much choice before people, and we, let's say, create channels like we're creating folders in a file server, it can be a difficult digital workplace to belong to. And then switch into another team, we might have the same kind of stress to deal with and understand that layout there too. So Teams is important. It's definitely a huge part of the strategy for bringing our tools together. But I think there is, as we've been saying right through this, when we connect things together and simplify things, that's not a bad thing. That's a great thing, to make it easier for people to get to what they need.
Awesome. And I love how you're saying, don't create folders like you're creating or channels like you're creating file servers folders. How many teams and how many organizations have seen with hundreds of channels in a single team? And I can even tell you, we're coming from way back at Valo, and we're definitely not. We still have teams with 75 channels. I've seen Microsoft with 250 and 300 channels in a single team. It's great to break down the information, but then afterwards, how do you find it? It's really, really, really difficult. So definitely not something I would encourage people to do. Definitely just keep it as simple as possible. Simplification is definitely the key here. Last question for both of you, and we're going to start with Daniel on this one. With the announcement and with the launch of Valo Connect, how do you feel that now Microsoft Teams, with all the new capabilities that are coming in, is now a more complete digital workplace solution?
I think with Connect being able, as I mentioned before, being able to bring and simplify not just bring in SharePoint content, but bring in other line of business applications into Microsoft Teams. As Darrell said before, it's Teams is becoming a central place for a lot of users to communicate and collaborate and meet and talk. And being able to not only, as you've seen with Ignite, the release of the Microsoft personal app, there's a big focus on Microsoft Teams becoming this central point. And with Valo Connect, what that allows us to do now is not only create a single app for a company, but create multiple different applications for different roles or different departments. I mean, HR could have a set of tools that may or may not be in Office 365 that they need to get their work done. We can create an app for that. Or IT can have, linking out to or integrating with ServiceNow or other types of applications. With Valo Connect, what that allows us now to do is create those experiences and tailor that to different groups of people or different roles in an organization. Not only that, I guess we were talking before about this term called deep linking, and keeping every user, regardless of the content that they're consuming, whether that be on the intranet or in Teams or whatever the case may be, being able to stay inside that user experience of Microsoft Teams is something that's simplifies things a lot, makes it easy for end users to be able to understand and not jump out into different applications or different browser tabs or different locations. We're all staying in that single location, which is something that's, as an end user, is something that's pretty powerful.
That's something that I liked too about the product. As you're not leaving Teams, you want to, first of all, where is my intranet, right? Like even going to office.com and going to the SharePoint tile, which one's my intranet again? Has it been promoted? Is it this one? Is it that one? Did I follow it? Can I find it? When it is put there in that app rail within Teams, nice and easy to find. And if it's Valo as your intranet, then it's definitely going to look great. And as you've seen so far too, it's quite flexible with what you can add. But I do like, I'm always trying to encourage my customers to have or make the time to just write a news article. Write your own news article, put it there in your team, or if you've got access to a site that you're allowed to put that sort of stuff on. It's the allowing other people other than the corporates and the internal comms to write news, to use these rich pages and get their stories across. And I really like what Valo Connect is doing there, where you've got your official news, you've got things that you've got access to, and then there's this place where you can subscribe to the things that are of interest. So if you're building up a culture within your org that starts to share news in this rich functional way using the SharePoint pages, and then Valo is going to bring that in and make it so much easier to consume.
And I think one of the other key aspects here that, especially in the current climate, there's a lot of organizations that have moved very, very quickly to Teams. They've migrated or moved a lot of documents into a team, into multiple channels, whatever the case may be. And being able to have Valo Connect added as inside of an individual team, and having that search capability across channels, which Teams doesn't give you, is something that's, again, is a feature that's really powerful, and it does make it a lot easier for users to be able to find those documents, as opposed to clicking through channels or clicking through the files tab or trying to find what they're looking for. They can just jump into a unified search experience across the entire team.
the experience when we're talking with customers around maybe their favorite capability or whatsoever. One of the things that we've got a lot of feedback on is from an IT perspective is they want to make sure that when you add Valo Connect to a team, it's already meaningful. There's already a couple of tabs predefined, pre-configured that will deliver value right out of the box. And that's, for me, my favorite feature of Valo Connect is the ability to go in and say, I want to have members, I want to have files, I want to have news, I want to be able to bring the homepage of the site that I'm in as part of this, and automatically it really creates that blanket feeling that every single time you're going to go into a new team, you're going to have a structure that is very similar, but you're going to have that value add. It's not going to be frustrating that your team has it, but the other team that you're part of don't. And it's like, it feels like there's something missing over there. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for your wisdom. I like to say that. I think that's definitely, I love how passionate you are about the digital workplace. I love how Valo Connect can help some of your customers do that. So thank you so much to be there. Darrell, do you want to do a little bit of Q&A that we might have on the chat right now?
We will. I'll just jump into the Q&A. The session will be recorded. Yes, the session will be out after this. We will send out the recording. Question here from Jesberger. How does this work with Office Online? Does it make a difference as to what 365 license is used in the end customer's 365 tenancy, Seb?
That's a great question. So any 365, and I'm not a licensing expert, so don't quote me on any of that. It is complicated.
Who is?
It is a nightmare. So if your organization already has anything that enables Office Online, this will work. If not, automatically you're going to be able to download a file instead of doing inline editing. But I do believe that basically anything that is from within Microsoft Teams would work with Office Online. It also works really, really nicely with external users. So if you're an external user, you're visiting a team, you're searching for content, and you have access to that content, you can also visit it or view it straight from Office Online.
Yeah, excellent. Another, not so much of a question, but a point from Drew Keenan is just made the point that Teams has now reached an extraordinarily huge amount of users, 115 million, I think it was.
Exactly, yeah, announced yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously that indicates the I guess the popularity and the use of Teams, especially obviously given the current climate, but a lot of organisations have needed to, but have moved very, very quickly.
I'm just thinking here about all the engineers at Microsoft that needed to support a 20 million to 115 million growth in users in the last 6 months. That's a lot of sweat that went right there. It's great, and I think when we think about it, when you're an organization, you're like, okay, we're going to bet on Teams as our solutions for remote collaboration, and you see that 150 million users are doing that on a daily basis with you. Also, I think the choice is clear. And I think the ecosystem around Teams like Valo Connect will actually really bring some of that value where you're going to be even more productive within Microsoft Teams.
Absolutely. That is all the questions that we've got via the Q&A.
Can I slip a question in there, guys?
You can.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Mr. Darrell as a service.
I like the look of the people search, and it's pretty cool that rather than just jumping up to the search box and trying to find someone, maybe like the question was asked, I want to find someone in marketing because I've got a question, but I don't know who yet. You've got a few different filters there, like office and birthday, within the Valo Connect product or Valo Intranet. There's different. Are there ability to add other filters as well? Like,
Yes.
can you tag things?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Any what we call technically user profile properties, but any property of a user can be added either as part of the card to see them. Like here you see that we have the location, Berlin, Helsinki, London, but it's not available as a filter. But we could add the location back in there. So this is all customizable according to your needs. Every single UI you've seen is also fully customizable to add a little bit of a different spin, a different configuration. We didn't want to go too much into details here, but everything you see is fully customizable. And why? It's because we know that even though all organizations are similar, all organizations are extremely different at the same time. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to kind of bring that experience in, and I think we did it pretty well.
Great.
Excellent. Well, there is no more questions, Seb. So we are all clear.
Awesome. Well, everybody, if you want to learn more about Valo Connect, please feel free to go on our website. So valointranet.com/Valo Connect, where you will be able to see all the great capabilities of Valo Connect, request a demo to get in touch with us and actually put the product into use in your own organization. Gentlemen from the other side of the world, I'm very, very, very happy that we were able to have that chat today. Thank you so much for, joining me, but it's more, I'm happy to have joined Daniel hosting this one. Darrell, thank you so much for your expertise, for your expert vision on this. Maybe one last word from both of you. So Darrell, maybe a last word before we close down this webinar.
Just encouraging people that in these times where we're in different states of connectedness, to keep in touch with each other and make that effort. And if it's using intranet features and functions like here with Valo Connect, or just reaching out and making a conversation, that's really important right now. Awesome.
Well, Daniel, I'm going to give you the closing remarks. And thanks, everybody, for joining with Daniel. Up to you.
Thank you, Seb. Thank you, everybody, for joining in live. I've had a couple of questions about whether this has been recorded. Yes, it has been recorded and will be sent out. Once again, Darrell and Seb, thank you very, very much for joining us on this event. As everybody has seen, Valo Connect is it really is a great tool, amazing functionality that's bringing everything into a single location. So, guys, really appreciate your time and spending it in this hour with us. So, thank you very much. That is all from us. We will see you next time. Thanks, guys.